Welcome, all of you. Today we are going to spend these few minutes dealing with one of the masterpieces of English literature. We are going to live these few minutes with John Milton in his masterpiece, Paradise Lost. John Milton was an English poet, polemicist, critic, a scholarly man of letters, and a civil servant, all at the same time. He is best known for his magnum opus, Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is Milton's masterpiece. It is a blank verse epic poem. Although it was written more than 3 centuries ago, it is still an important fixture in the Western literary canon. It concerns the story of the fall of man, the temptation of Adam and Eve by Satan, and consequently their expulsion from paradise. The poem consists of 10 books, comprising 10,000 lines of verse. Now let's look at the portrait of Satan as portrayed by John Milton in Paradise Lost. Let's start with Satan as a tempter. Satan, disguised in the form of a serpent, successfully tempts Eve to eat from the tree, the forbidden fruit. Although there was a clear command from God not to eat from that tree of knowledge, God said to Adam and Eve, وَقُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ اسْكُنْ أَنْتَ وَزَوْجُكَ الْجَنَّةَ وَكُلَا مِنْهَا رَغَدًا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةَ فَتَكُونَا مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. However, Satan successfully seduced Eve and persuaded her to eat from the tree. فأزلهما الشيطان عنها فأخرجهما مما كان فيه. According to Milton, since Eve was made from Adam's flesh, they were bound to one another, so that if she died, he must also die. If she sinned, he was sure to sin. However, Adam is a deeper sinner than Eve, as he is completely aware that what he is doing is completely wrong. Let's look at the hubris of Satan. Satan was the most beautiful of all angels in heaven. He is a tragic figure, best described by the now famous quote, "Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven." Satan's hubris is so evident from the very beginning. If we go to the beginning of the story in the surah of Wafekra, when God said, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا Iblis. What did Iblis do? أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Let's go on to continue the argument or debate between Satan and God himself. I have found great similarity between the dialogue inaugurated between God and Satan himself in the 2 surahs of Al-Hijr and Sad. Let's start from Al-Hijr. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. And in Sad, he says, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ طِينٍ. Okay, let's return to Al-Hijr. فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. In Sad, فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. The same verse. فسجد الملائكة كلهم أجمعون. That is in الحجر. فسجد الملائكة كلهم أجمعون. That is in صاد. إلا إبليس أبى أن يكون مع الساجدين in الحجر. إلا إبليس استكبر وكان من الكافرين in صاد. قال يا إبليس ما لك ألا تكون مع الساجدين in الحجر. قال يا إبليس ما منعك أن تسجد لما خلقت بيدي أستكبرت أم كنت من العالين in صاد. Let's listen to the audacious reply by Satan in الحجر. قال لم أكن لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حمأ مسنون in صاد. قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. So there came the final decision by Almighty God in الحجر. قال فاخرج منها فإنك رجيم وإن عليك اللعنة إلى يوم الدين in صاد. قال فاخرج منها فإنك رجيم وإن عليك لعنتي إلى يوم الدين. Satan's desire to rebel against his creator stems from his unwillingness to be subjugated by God, claiming angels are self-begot, self-raised, thereby denying God's authority over them as their creator. Let's look at the envy of Satan. Envy can be described as feeling displeasure and ill will at the superiority of another person in happiness, success, reputation, or the possession of anything desirable to regard. Satan is jealous of Jesus Christ. He is planning to destroy in only one day something that has taken God 6 days to build, which would make him better than God. Let's look at Satan's arrogance. Pride is considered to be the deadliest of the cardinal sins since the 6th century. Satan is deeply arrogant, albeit powerful and charismatic. He argues that God rules as a tyrant and that all the angels ought to rule as gods. Let's deal here with Satan as a tragic hero. Satan is comparable in many ways to the tragic heroes of classic Greek literature, but Satan's hubris far surpasses those of the previous tragedies. Though at times he plays the narrative role of an anti-hero, who is still commonly understood to be the antagonist of the epic. Satan as a denier. Satan tries to justify his rebellion by denying this aspect of God and claiming self-creation. But he admits to himself that this is not the case and that God deserved no such return from me, whom he created what I was. What about the impious war waged by Satan? Satan raises impious war in heaven by leading a third of the angels in revolt against God. Fraud and transformation of Satan. Satan starts his journey with the most beautiful and powerful shape, but he commits the most vicious of acts. Also, as a cherub, Satan commits the sin of fraud. The only option left to Satan is to sink lower and lower in both form and mind. Satan's transformation, both inwardly and physically, takes him from fallen angel to serpent, from lacking luster to crawling in dirt, from heaven to hell, and from guilty to evil. Comic paradox of a hero in Paradise Lost. Satan is the comic paradox of the hero. The epic hero always goes on a journey from darkness into light. However, Satan's journey leads him from lightness into darkness. Ambivalence in the character of Satan. On the one hand, Satan is in our socio-religious inheritance is regarded as the embodiment of all the ills of mankind. Thus the name Satan, even if merely uttered, connotes horror and repulsion. A characterization of Satan is portrayed in which the audience feels sympathy and sometimes fraternity with Satan's character. Conflict in Paradise Lost. There is a conflict between Satan, that is pure evil, and God, that is pure God. Pure evil then continues to lay waste to anything God cherishes in a feeble attempt to exact revenge for his punishment. Hamartia in Paradise Lost. Satan's fatal flaw is a fundamental lack of self-knowledge. That is, Satan has no ability to recognize his own limitations. Satan's tenacity. Satan calls his band of rebel angels to a community forum so that they can voice their opinions and strategize with him in plotting against God. He asks his followers by what best way, whether of open war or covert guile. We now debate who can advise may speak. Satan's thirst for vengeance. Satan feels sad when he sees Adam and Eve in paradise and realizes he is screwed. He's actually screwed when he says, "Oh hell." He possesses an unhealthy thirst for vengeance and havoc. Satan's free will. The allure of free will is where the attractiveness and power of Satan's character lies. When he said, "What though the field be lost? All is not lost, the unconquerable will." Satan's charisma. Speaking eloquently is what Satan does extremely well. He convinces the angels to take up arms and convinces Eve to eat the fruit. Satan's wrath. Wrath can be explained as being vehement or violent anger, intense exasperation or resentment or deep indignation. Satan is furious to be banned from the light of heaven down into the pit of hell. He wants it to have his vengeance. Satan's greed. Greed can be described as the inordinate or insatiate longing, especially for wealth, and as an avaricious or covetous desire. Satan is greedy because he longs for wealth and especially power. This can be seen in his successful attempt to become the leader of the other fallen angels. Sloth. Sloth, which in a spiritual way came to refer to laziness and indifference in one's duties and obligations to God. In the later Middle Ages, this also applies to Satan and the fallen angels. They do not want to serve God in heaven. Satan's lust. Satan raped his own daughter Sam, and that they even had a child together, and this child, called Death, apparently inherited his father's behavior. He raped his own mother, and she gave birth to even more devils. Sin. Sin is an allegorical character made by Satan at the gates of hell in Book 2 of Paradise Lost. She holds the key to hell's gate and opens the gate so that Satan, her father, can pass through on his way up to heaven. Death. Satan raped his daughter in heaven, and she gave birth to death. Last, I'd like to thank all of you for being with me today for these few minutes. First and foremost, I'd like to pay great homage to His Excellency, our Dean of the Faculty, Professor Khalifa Al-Mas'ud. Special thanks are also due to my dear colleague, Dr. Khalid Al-Awad, Dr. Ashraf Abdel-Gawad, Dr. Ahmed Abdel-Tawwab from the Department of Science and Computer Studies. My dear colleagues from my departments, Dr. Muhammad Amir, Dr. Shawkat, Dr. Atif, Dr. Mushtaq, Dr. Akhlaq. Special thanks are also due to my dear colleagues from other departments, Dr. Ala, Dr. Imad, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Maqsood. Special thanks are due to Mr. Yusuf Al-Dakhil for overcoming any problems pertaining to the preparation of this meeting and for shouldering all the responsibilities for such a meeting. Special thanks are also due to my older students who are attending with me today. Thank you all and goodbye. Thank you.